Hey, welcome. This is the second part of finding profitable NFTs. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to find profitable NFTs in the secondary markets like OpenSea or Solana Art. So for starters, you're going to go on OpenSea, and then over here, you're going to find stats, and then you're going to have to click on rankings. So one way to do this is to look at projects that are fairly new, the ones that are just launched, and the prices are going up. Like if I knew this launch within 3 days ago and within the last 24 hours, the price is up 163%. But over here, in the last 7 days, the price is up 1,757%. So this project is doing really well. This one also did well, but right now it's not doing that well. It looks like it's down somewhat from the initial price, but the floor price is still really high. So it's pretty great. It's a good project. But we don't want to be spending a premium, because down the line when you do 10 to 15 flips, that's when you want to get into the bigger numbers like 2, 3, 4 Ethereum. So initially start small, make your money, use that, and then you can make more. And you'll be able to take a loss at that point. Of course, just use what I'm teaching you in this course and you'll be fine. You'll be able to find definitely good projects, and in case it happens, you can take a loss. But make sure you follow the parameters, especially the ones I showed you. This is one of the projects that I was in. It did really well. When I sold it, it was 0.60. And then it dropped a little bit from the actual mint. I got in really early into this project. I was on the whitelist and then I sold it. Between when a project gets minted and when it gets listed on a site like OpenSea, it's usually not available for you to view. Like a newer project will just have some kind of image over here and you won't be able to see that project. It's going to be something like a GIF, or maybe even blurred out, and you won't be able to see what's what. At that point, the floor price is usually the most highest, the most premium. So in case you minted something at 0.10 ETH, and the public sale doesn't happen for another, let's say, 7 days, between those 7 days, the floor price would usually skyrocket. Okay, let's say that the pre-sale was for 500 people. And Discord has, well, for the purpose of this video, 10,000 people. Now you'll have 9,500 people trying to buy those 500. Because you don't know if you're going to get one when you try to do the public sale. Because when a public sale happens, there are so many people trying to buy a public sale when it happens. You might even miss out on the minting. Because the supply to demand usually gets really crazy on any kind of decent project. So you could be trying to buy the project at, let's say, 0.010, and 50 other guys are trying to buy that same project at the same time. The same NFT. And most likely you're gonna miss out. So usually by the time that public sale happens, the opportunity is already gone and you're gonna miss out. In fact, if you do manage to buy, you're going to be paying a premium. And that's something you should try to avoid. I like to avoid it. I've seen people pay insane amount of money in gas fees and they couldn't even just sell it. They wouldn't even get a profit. It's very important to do that. So anyway, what I was saying is buying profitable projects is like, first you gotta go to stats and then you gotta click on activity. So then you're gonna come here and you need to start monitoring all of the sales that are happening. These are real-time sales. There again, it just updated. You can see that all of these sales happened just a minute ago. So what I like to do is to find patterns here. So what you're going to be looking out for is the sales of one project that's happening multiple times, over and over again. So let's try to look for one. What we are essentially looking for is one NFT project that multiple people are buying out right now. There are times where I've seen NFTs that were 0.30 at the top, but some kind of PR, an influencer, or something had happened. And that resulted in everyone trying to buy it at the same time. This is one way to always be on top of that. These are projects that have basically not been reviewed yet. That's why it's a GIF. You can see these GIFs right here. They're not live yet. So again, you gotta find the projects that are being sold back to back. Sometimes it can get a little tricky. You might have to sit here for hours. Because it's not like they're always gonna give you patterns. But the pattern is simple. You just need to find a project that's being sold over and over. And you'll be seeing them multiple times in a span of minutes. If you want to look for it, that's great. but I just like to take a glance. If I find something immediately, I'm gonna go in for it. I'm seeing a lot of different ones over here, nothing being sold back to back, which is what I usually like to look out for. Because that's foolproof and it works most of the time. But it could be a little risky because you are in the secondary market and anything can happen. Because when you're buying at mint, it's easier to predict. You'll know what's going to happen and where the project is going to go. Of course, remember the parameters that I showed you before. Let me show you a better example. Give me a minute. You can see that these are 0.001 ETH. These are all terrible projects. I wouldn't even bother to look at them. Anything decent will not be worth 0.001 ETH. Remember, this is time consuming, but if you want to come out on top, this is what you're going to have to do. Let's look at this one. This is 0.064. That's $290. We just saw 15 people on the previous page buy a visitor's NFT in the last 10 minutes. I guess there's something going on. There must be a pattern. There should be some reason why people are buying it. So what you gotta do is you gotta come to the page and you gotta go in their collection page. Then start monitoring the floor price. It's the lowest someone is selling it for. So low to high, set the parameters on buy now. You can see the floor price right here. For the lowest is 0.063, then 0.0635, 0.065, and a lot for 0.065. So for the floor to rise above 0.065, a bunch of these have to go. They've all got to be bought out. This is something I would try to avoid because the price difference isn't really that great. Because sometimes you would see the lowest price being 0.063 and the next one is 0.09. I would buy that one right away. Because if you buy that, you can literally list it within minutes to 0.089. Basically one lower than the next guy. Now you're at the top. You just bought it for 0.063. And you're just getting almost a 50% return on your money right there. Because if it's being sold and there are multiple people buying on the activity page, you can buy right there and sell it right there as well. It's crazy how easy it is to do a quick flip. But it is time consuming. And your profits are not going to be that significant. If you want to make something like 4 to 5 Ether, or even 10 Ether, or even 40 to 50 Ether, and trust me, it's very realistic. I've seen a couple of projects do that. The way to do that is to get them at mint. Minting the projects will always make sure you get the most profit. Remember, get on the whitelist and get on the pre-sale. It's a surefire way to make a lot of money. Because you can get NFTs for really cheap and sell it for a huge premium. Of course, you have to make sure that all of the parameters meet up. And remember, in case the project is holding some kind of good utility, try to hold on to it. And you can benefit from the perks. Next, we have Solana art. This is very similar to OpenSea. But this one's more for Solana. And OpenSea mostly operates on Ethereum. With Solana art, I like to look at the collections, which are really good ones. I'm gonna check if I can find any. There aren't any good ones or new ones here because these are pretty old. There are a lot of new ones that didn't get listed yet. It takes some time to get listed on Solana art. Honestly, Solana is really good as well. And I've seen a lot of projects do really well as well. In fact, if you already started flipping on OpenSea and you bought NFTs on OpenSea, you should definitely get into Solana art. Because there's barely any transaction fees. And with Ethereum, there's always a transaction fees. But you can sell projects for really high. Like he said, you could buy something for 0.010 and you could sell it before the reveal for almost 4 to 5 Ether. So it's important that whenever you do mint, don't try to undercut the market. That's a horrible way to make money. You're not just cutting profits for yourself, you're cutting profits for everybody. So it's always important to set up a premium when it comes to the full price. So let's go back to Solana. So you can see with Solana art, you don't have the activity chart. What I like to look at in Solana art is the 24-hour volume. Like what has the highest volume, like this one? Like this one has almost plus 834%. This one has plus 778%. These are so high already. So I wouldn't recommend that. Maybe something a little lower. Of course, look at the price, how much you're paying. Because if you're paying a premium, you're going to be losing a lot. But if you're not paying a lot, you can still come out on top. as long as there's a good increase in the volume in the last 24 hours. Also make sure you look at the floor price. So the average on this one is 1.2 sol, and the floor price is 0.3 sol. This is where the rarity aspect comes into play. That's something you really need to look at in the secondary market. Let's check out something else on OpenSea. Not visitors, let's just go back to rankings. Let's look at one of these Shiba guys. We know the Shiba coin is doing really well, so this should be doing really well as well. It's 1.749, not surprised. That's almost $8,000. That's amazing. It's not just this, but beautiful projects like Mechaverse, they're doing really well. Artworks like these do extremely well too. So if you click buy now, the cheapest you can buy is 1.749. Then you got a bunch at 1.75, 179. Let's look at the highest last sale. This will give us the rarity factor. Like, look at this one. They have an Iron Man one. They already have offers for 6,000, 6,000, 6,400. But what you want to look at is over here, under properties. You need to find traits that are essentially really low. This shows that out of the whole collection, what percentage of NFTs have these properties? Like this, steel, 0.2%. Has the steel headwear. Basically that. Or imagine the fur being orange. Only 51% have this. That isn't great. Mouth, only 10%. That's okay. You can see some are really good. Like this lightning, it's got 7%. 4% for steel. The clothes. But this one is doing really well just because it's Iron Man. But aside from that, let's look at a few others. So they just went after the whole superhero community from the looks of it. Let's look at this one. So this one, the price that you see over here is 47 ETH. That's not the actual price. That's just what it's listed for. It's not really going to cost you 47. Ethereum. Over here you can see none, VR. Some of them are 6%, 9%. You want to find properties that are really low. Because the lower the properties the NFT has, that makes it rare. The rarer you get, the better you get. So when you find those patterns, when you go in stats and you go in activity, and you find a product that's being sold multiple times from the same project, what you want to do is get the cheapest one that you can get at the floor price. But when you have a base or some sort of decent amount of money that you're spending on that project, find a rarer one. To do that, you go back to the collection, you go on highest last sale, because highest last sale are usually the rare ones. Let's go back to this Iron Man again. On properties, and headwear steel. 0.2%. Let's see how many of them have this. Actually quite a decent amount. I think about 10 of them. And you can see the floor price is just insane. That was the last one sold for 50 Ethereum. Just think about it. 50 Ethereum. 6 days ago, that person sold it to that person for 50 Ethereum. That's insane. So here you'll see the offers and the bids that the person has. Someone's offering 6,500 for it, but he wants to sell it for 2,000, which comes down to almost $9 million. And that's what's happening. Projects are being sold for crazy amounts of money. People are paying for it. Like this guy paid 50 Ethereum, which is pretty crazy. Like this person bought it for 50 Ethereum. Again, to sum it up, you go on stats, you click on activity, and then you find the collections. And then you find the ones with the cheapest floor price, and the ones that are sold multiple times. Buy the cheapest one you can get for a quick flip, and if you see some kind of hype, something going on, find an NFT that's on the rarer side, with properties that are extremely rare. If I was investing in this, I would definitely pick up one of these, and just hold it. Because sometimes you'd be surprised just how good a project can do, even if it doesn't do well initially. You need to be careful. Don't just buy any random project. The artwork is something you need to look at. Like this one is just because of Shiba coin. It has nothing to do with the artwork or the utility. But other projects that have either of those, I would definitely get into that. Like this one. Oh, we missed it. Oh, there it is. It was just sold for almost $10,000. Someone almost spent $10,000 on it. A picture of this. It looks really cool, not gonna lie. Would I buy it? No, I wouldn't. Too much money to risk. I like to play it safe and make sure I come out on top. Because I want to make as much profit as possible, and you need to do so too. So find projects that are fairly new, has a lot of potential, and just get in on them really, really early. Thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one.